Imagine a world where India never fragmented after Ashoka's reign. A world where the Mauryan Empire, forged by Chandragupta and strengthened by Ashoka, remained united for centuries. A single empire stretching from the Himalayas to the southern tip of the subcontinent, maintaining political stability, economic prosperity, and cultural dominance. In this alternate history, India does not splinter into regional kingdoms, but instead consolidates power under strong governance and capable heirs. How would this change the course of human civilization? How would trade, culture, religion, and science evolve if one of the world's richest and most diverse regions stayed united? By the end of this exploration, it will become clear that a united Mauryan Empire could have rewritten global history. The key point of divergence is subtle yet transformative. In real history, after Ashoka's death in 232 BCE, weak successors and administrative fragmentation led to the empire's collapse. But imagine if Ashoka had implemented stronger succession laws, established a council of capable advisors, and reinforced regional loyalty through a more robust bureaucracy. This single change could have preserved political unity for centuries, preventing the breakdown into smaller kingdoms. From this, all other changes logically follow. Trade flourishes uninterrupted, culture spreads faster, and India's global influence accelerates far earlier than in reality. With strong governance and capable leadership, the Mauryan Empire would not only survive, but expand. Chandragupta and Ashoka laid the groundwork for administrative efficiency and military discipline, and a united empire could capitalize on these strengths. The armies of the Mauryans, already among the largest and most organized in the ancient world, would maintain security along all borders, from the north with Central Asia to the south along the Deccan Plateau. Potential threats from regional powers would be addressed diplomatically or militarily, depending on the situation, but the empire's continuity would make large-scale fragmentation unlikely. This stability would have allowed the Mauryans to exert influence beyond South Asia. The Seleucid Empire, weakened after Alexander's death, might become a strategic partner rather than a rival. The Mauryans could establish early diplomatic and trade connections with Hellenistic kingdoms in the west while consolidating power internally. The northern border with Central Asia could see regular campaigns to secure trade routes and preempt invasions. A strong, unified India could serve as a stabilizing force in the region, forcing neighboring empires to negotiate, ally, or coexist under its influence. But not all neighbors would accept this quietly. Even with unmatched military strength and centralized governance, the empire would face challenges. External powers would likely seek alliances to counterbalance India's dominance, while internal factions, ambitious governors, and regional identities could occasionally threaten cohesion. Yet, with institutionalized administration and the lessons of Ashoka's reforms, these threats would be manageable. This balance of power sets the stage for centuries of political stability and territorial continuity, a scenario drastically different from our history. Political stability enables cultural and scientific flourishing. A united Mauryan Empire would have the wealth and resources to sponsor scholars, build universities, and encourage innovation. Imagine a society where mathematicians, astronomers, and medical practitioners could work without interruption, supported by a stable government that values knowledge and infrastructure. Many scientific advancements that appeared centuries later could emerge early in this alternate timeline. The spread of Buddhism would accelerate, potentially influencing entire regions of Central and Southeast Asia much faster than in our history. Hindu philosophy and literature would evolve alongside Buddhist teachings, fostering a rich and diverse intellectual landscape. This could result in the early creation of comprehensive legal codes, philosophical treatises, and technological innovations. Urban centers like Pataliputra, Ujjain, and Taxila could rival Alexandria and Baghdad as hubs of knowledge and culture. Trade networks would facilitate the exchange of ideas, making India not only an economic powerhouse, but also a center of intellectual authority across continents. Yet, rapid cultural development could also generate tension. Different schools of thought and religious movements might clash, demanding careful governance to maintain social cohesion. Despite these challenges, a unified Mauryan India would have both the resources and institutional mechanisms to nurture innovation while preserving stability. If you're intrigued by how a single empire could have changed the world, take a moment to like this video, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. The deeper we go, the more astonishing the consequences of a united Mauryan India become. With centuries of unity, India would dominate trade routes across the Indian Ocean and the Silk Road. A single, stable government would allow goods, people, and ideas to move efficiently across the subcontinent and beyond. Spices, textiles, and precious metals could be exported on a massive scale, creating unprecedented wealth and turning Indian cities into bustling global trade hubs. Mega markets would emerge in port cities and inland trade centers, supporting economic growth, specialization, and innovation. The ripple effect of this economic dominance could extend far beyond Asia. With early access to advanced mathematics, accounting, and logistics, India might establish trade networks connecting the Middle East, Africa, and even the Mediterranean centuries earlier than in real history. This economic power would reinforce political stability and cultural development, creating a self-reinforcing cycle of prosperity and influence. Yet, wealth invites competition. Rival powers, jealous of India's prosperity, could attempt to disrupt trade or provoke conflict. Internal factions might also exploit economic disparities to challenge the central authority. The empire would need strong institutions, fair governance, and strategic diplomacy to maintain its dominance. A long-lasting Mauryan Empire would significantly shape social structures and religious developments. Stable governance could manage caste hierarchies more effectively, ensuring social order while avoiding excessive exploitation. Educational and religious institutions would receive state support, allowing literacy and philosophical thought to expand across social classes. The spread of Buddhism, accelerated by a stable and prosperous empire, would influence neighboring regions earlier than in real history. Hinduism would also evolve in parallel, leading to a rich cultural synthesis across South Asia. A unified empire could foster tolerance, trade in ideas, and civic engagement, creating a society capable of innovation and adaptation. However, internal tensions would still exist. Regional identities, cultural differences, and religious disputes could challenge the central government. A successful Mauryan empire would need mechanisms to negotiate these tensions, perhaps developing proto-democratic councils or merit-based bureaucracies centuries before similar systems appear elsewhere. This social evolution would further strengthen the empire, reinforcing stability while promoting cultural and intellectual growth. The long-term global impact of a united Mauryan India would be profound. Europe might experience the Renaissance centuries earlier, influenced indirectly by Indian philosophy, mathematics, and trade. The subcontinent could lead technological and scientific advancements that would shape global civilization long before European powers rise to dominance. China, Persia, and Southeast Asia would encounter a powerful Indian neighbor early in their histories, potentially altering the trajectory of wars, alliances, and empires. Colonialism, as we know it, might never occur, or it would take a completely different form. Trade and cultural exchange between continents could accelerate, creating a connected, advanced world centuries ahead of schedule. Even geopolitics would be unrecognizable. The balance of power shifts dramatically, with India at the center of global influence. Wars, revolutions, and colonization would play out differently, and the intellectual and technological timeline of humanity could advance by centuries. A united Mauryan Empire is not just an intriguing historical thought experiment. It's a vision of how the world might have evolved if one of the richest, most diverse regions had stayed united. Political stability, economic prosperity, cultural flourishing, and scientific advancement all compound to create a world dramatically different from our own. The ripple effects on global trade, philosophy, and governance could have reshaped Europe, Asia, and beyond, altering the trajectory of civilization itself. If this exploration of alternate history fascinated you, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more history-bending content. Imagine the possibilities. A prosperous, united India shaping world history centuries earlier. How different would our modern world look? Could India's influence have prevented centuries of conflict and delayed the rise of Western powers? These are questions that spark the imagination and challenge our understanding of history itself. A united Mauryan India is not just a story of what could have been. It is a mirror reflecting the immense potential of civilization when leadership, stability, and vision align. Perhaps it also invites reflection on our present, how unity, foresight, and innovation might still shape a better future.